All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Thursday, April 29th. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. Now guys, we're coming fresh off a winning day on my Patreon website yesterday. We went 3-1 with a push in our 5 premium sports picks on that Patreon page. That's going to put us at 5-1 in our last 6 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon site. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. We're also hitting at 67% our last 9 MLB tier package picks on that Patreon page as well. We currently have over 1,425 members who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, a link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some NBA action. We're going to start with the Nets taking on the Pacers, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. The Brooklyn Nets are minus 8.5, totals 237. And if you like the Pacers in an upset at home here, they're plus $3 for some money line cash. Now, the Pacers have played their worst basketball this year at the Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Out of their 29 home games, they've gotten the W just 11 times. And even worse than that, the Pacers are covering just 27% of their home games as well. Now, one of the Pacers' biggest issues is rebounding. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA right now. They actually currently rank in the bottom 3 in home offensive rebounding, and they're in the bottom 3 in home defensive rebounding as well. Now, ironically, the Pacers' top rebounder, Domantas Sabonis, he's sitting this one out tonight with back problems. So certainly bad news. You may want to get on, some rebounding props here tonight and pound the under. But anyway, you may not see Jeremy Lamb either, as he's currently battling a knee issue. Indiana's taking on a Brooklyn team who scores a ton of points. Brooklyn's currently leading the NBA in road scoring. They're averaging 120 points a game when they travel. Now, the Nets are also first in the league in offensive field goal percentage. They're making nearly 50% of their field goals. And despite the absence of Harden, Brown, and Claxton here this evening, Brooklyn's led by Kevin Durant, who's scoring 27 points a game, along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving scoring over 26.5 points a game himself, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for the NBA champ. Now, the Nets currently have the best record in the East at 42-20. They're also drilling nearly 40% of their three-pointers as a team. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Brooklyn's last 4 ball games did stay under the number, 5-2 to the under in their last 7 road games. Meanwhile, the Pacers went 5-2 to the under in their last 7 against an Eastern Conference foe. I'm going to lean toward the Brooklyn Nets minus 8.5. and the under 237. Next contest, Mavericks versus the Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Dallas Mavericks are minus 8.5, totals 214. And despite the potential absence of both Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, the Pistons are going to work here tonight without their leading scorer, Jeremy Grant. Now, in addition to Grant, Plumlee, Joseph, and Ellington, they're all sitting this one out tonight. Meanwhile, Smith and Magruder, they're still out indefinitely as well. Now, the Pistons have dropped 3 out of their last 4, and they also went just 3-7 straight up in their last 10. Now, Detroit's currently 24 games below 500 right now, and they rank in the bottom 3 in the league in home scoring. The Pistons are averaging just 105 points a game at the Little Caesars Arena. They're taking on a Dallas team who, once again, they may not have their stars in action here tonight. So keep an eye on those guys. But having said that, though, players like Tim Hardaway and Jalen Brunson, they should be able to carry the load here tonight. Hardaway scoring over 15.5 points a game, along with 3 rebounds. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson's averaging 12.5 a game himself, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists for the guard. Now, this Maverick team seems to, kind of be built a little bit more around its defensive play. So, even if those offensive scores aren't in action tonight, We're looking at a pretty good defensive Maverick team. They're in the top 3 in road defensive field goal percentage, and they give up just 108 points a night when they travel. Now, total-wise, Dallas went 60% to the over in their last 10 ball games, 4-2 to the over in their last 6 against Detroit. Meanwhile, the Pistons went 9-3 to the over in their last dozen, hosting the Mavs. I'm going to lean toward the Dallas Mavericks minus 8.5 in the over 214. Next contest, Warriors, Timberwolves, 8 p.m. Eastern start. The Golden State Warriors are minus 2.5, numbers 234. And as well as they've played recently, the Warriors haven't been all too good covering the point spread. They actually failed to cover in their last 2 straight, 2-4 against the number in their last 6. Now, Bazemore is questionable, Oubre is doubtful. The Warriors are one of the worst rebounding teams in the Western Conference. They currently rank dead last in the entire NBA in road defensive rebounding. Golden State's also in the bottom 10 in offensive rebounding as well. And out of the Warriors' 32 road games this year, they picked up the W just a dozen times. They also went just 37% against the number in those 32 road games. Now they're taking on a Minnesota club who's on a 3-game winning streak themselves. They also went 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games as well. The Timberwolves are currently in the top 3 in the entire NBA in fourth quarter scoring. So I know a lot of folks don't associate Minnesota with scoring, but they do score a lot of points late in games. Now, Karl Anthony Towns, he's scoring nearly 25 points a game, 10 rebounds, 4.5 assists for the big center. Meanwhile, D'Angelo Russell is scoring 19 points a game himself, 2.5 boards and 5 assists for the guard. Russell's also drilling 41% of his three-pointers. Now, total-wise, the T-Wolves' last 3 straight all stayed under the line, 6-4 to the under in their last 10 meetings with Golden State. Meanwhile, the Warriors saw 4 out of their last 5 stay under the line themselves, 67% to the under in their last 9. Golden State's also officially 20-12 to the under in their road games. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Minnesota Timberwolves plus 2.5 and the under 234. Next contest, Bucks, Rockets, 8 o'clock East. The Milwaukee Bucks are minus 13.5, numbers 231. Milwaukee's currently 15 games above 500 right now. They're actually just 3.5 games behind the Nets for the top seed in the East. Milwaukee successfully covered the point spread in 3 out of their last 4 ball games, 6-3 against the spread in their last 9. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's scoring 28.5 points per contest, 11 boards and 6 assists for the All-Star forward. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton's dropping 20 a night himself, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for Middleton. Chris is also drilling 43% of his 3 balls. And speaking of 3-pointers, Milwaukee makes a lot of them. They're currently in the top 3 in the league in shooting the 3-ball. They're also the league leaders in scoring on average per contest. The Bucks are scoring nearly 120 points a game. Now they're taking on a putrid Houston club who has the worst record in the entire NBA. They're just 15-47 overall for the season, and that's good for a win percentage of just .242. Now the Rockets are currently on a 5-game losing streak, 1-10 straight up in their last 11. Certainly looks like failure by design here. And in addition to ranking dead last in shooting the 3-ball and defensive rebounding, this terrible Houston organization has won just 7 of 31 home games. Now House and Bradley are out. John Wall, he's done for the year. And of course, Brown, Gordon, and Augustine, they're still out indefinitely as well. Now total-wise, Houston's 4-1 to the under in their last 5 ball games, 21-10 to the under at the Toyota Center. Meanwhile, the Bucks saw their last 3 straight stay under the line themselves, 5-1 to the under in their last 6 ball games in Houston. I'm going to lean toward the Milwaukee Bucks minus 13.5 and the under 231. Next contest, Pelicans, Thunder, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The New Orleans Pelicans are minus 9 on the road, totals 229.5. Now the Pelicans are playing some pretty bad basketball right now, just 2-6 straight up in their last 8 ball games. Dead last in the NBA in defending the 3-ball on the road. As a matter of fact, the Pelicans played their worst basketball away from the Smoothie King Center. Now, out of New Orleans' 29 road games, they've gotten the W just 10 times. Now, the biggest issue for the Pelicans, obviously, is their defense. They give up 116 points a game when they travel. And they're also letting their opponents make nearly 41% of their three-pointers in that same category. Now, Adams is questionable for New Orleans. Hart and Alexander Walker, they're both still out indefinitely. OKC on the other side, they've successfully covered the point spread in 3 out of their last 5, and that's going to include a nice 4-point victory over Boston just a few nights ago. And if you think about it, as bad as these guys are, they're actually one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the game. The Thunder's currently in the top 5 in the entire NBA in offensive rebounding. Now, Lou Dort, he's scoring 14 points per contest, along with 3 rebounds. Meanwhile, Darius Bazley's averaging over 13 a game himself, along with 7 rebounds as well. And much to my surprise, OKC's currently in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball. Now, when it comes to the number in this one, 3 out of OKC's last 4 outings did get over the total. 19 and 11 to the over this year at the Chesapeake. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are 6 and 3 to the over in their last 9 themselves. Of course, throwing out the Denver game, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the underdog OKC Thunder +9 and the over 229.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Raptors versus the Nuggets, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Denver Nuggets are -3, totals 221.5. Now, the Nuggets are currently on a 3-game winning streak, 7-1 straight up in their last 8. Denver's also been outstanding on their home court this year. They're 23-10 straight up at the Ball Arena, and they're scoring over 117 points a game as the official home team. In addition to a high-powered offense, these guys simply out-rebound every team they play. They're in the top 10 in home offensive rebounding, top 3 in defensive rebounding as well. Nikola Jokic, he's scoring over 26 points per contest, 10 rebounds, 8 assists for the Joker. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr. scoring nearly 19 a night himself, along with 7 rebounds. Now, they're taking on a Toronto team who lost 2 out of their last 3, and they're one of the worst rebounding teams in the game right now. The Raptors actually rank dead last in the association in offensive rebounding on the road. Toronto's also currently in the bottom 10 in defensive rebounding as well. Now, they're currently 10 games below 500 right now, and they're tied for 11th place within their conference. They've also gotten the W in just 10 of 30 road games. Gary Trent Jr. is out. Watson is also out, and possibly Jalen Harris as well. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, Toronto's 19 and 11 to the over when they travel. They also saw 8 out of their last 10 meetings with Denver get over the line. Meanwhile, the Nuggets are officially 20 and 13 to the over at the Ball Arena. I'm going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets -3 and the over 221.5. And with that, guys, we're going to now jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Brooklyn -8.5 under 237. Dallas Mavericks -8.5 over 214. Minnesota +2.5 under 234. Milwaukee Bucks -13.5 under 231. OKC +9 over 229 and a hook. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 5-1 in our last 6 extra daily pick tier package plays on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 67% in our last 9 MLB tier package picks on that Patreon page as well. I'm going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets -3 and the over 221.5. With that, guys, we're going to jump into some shout-outs. And from our YouTube platform, shout out to Aronde Wilson, Kirill Salachoff, Drew Graham, Solo Brown, Keese Money, Marcus Beasley. Shout out to Mr. 3-Pointer, Clint 2315, Troy Moore, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, Lori Bauer. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.